Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? What a wild day yesterday, and in the late afternoon. I don't know if you saw, but that was interesting. Real quick though, before we get into stuff, I wanted to show you that I think we're like, we'll see what we do, but I wanted to show you. I have this marked out as the golden inversion. Now, that was pre-market. Of course, the market's about to open in 4 minutes, so this could change a little bit. But I like to see this stuff, and I like to note it, because you see here we have a high, pullback, higher high, lower low. So we have a bearish breaker with a nice big inversion in this leg up. That's what I call the golden inversion. So typically, this inversion is the one to short. Now, like I said, this was right before the open, so I don't trade that, because I don't trade the pre-market, and I don't know how it's going to really hold up since it's pre-market. So that's why I don't trade it, because I never really watch those that much. Then you have this fair value gap going down there. Just wanted to point that out real quick. Good morning, Max, Chris, Will, Greasy, Tony, Ayo. $5 in profit today. Whoop! There's your little cup of coffee. Little cup. All right, so let's go. Let's check out the weekly chart, because remember I was saying I don't think we'll make our way up until maybe Thursday or Friday. Looks like yesterday afternoon we did start making our way up. But remember, we had this gap down. We had to open. It was like a little wick there, right? And we expanded down throughout the week. Now we're making our way up. So it's, kind of working out how it's supposed to on the weekly profile. But the bad thing is we're going right back up into this zone on the daily chart that's just been a mess and been terrible, and I hate it, and I want to get out of it. So we had the big imbalance here, right? We finally traded up through it. We closed it, that new week opening gap. So we finally rebalanced that. And now if you notice on the daily, if we do close up today, we're going to have a volume imbalance here, okay? So which means, unfortunately, even if we push our way up, I'll always have to keep this area down here in mind for a while. So nothing much else on the daily chart there. The 4 hour, if you look at it, let's look at the 4 hour. We have this push up, and I was looking at this where if we do close in the next 31 minutes here, we'll get a 4 hour BISI, okay? Then we do have this SIBI, which is also a 1 hour fair value gap, so I just marked it as a 1 hour. But we do have this one here. If we do come up to it, we'll see if that's a little bit of a roadblock. The 1 hour, yesterday I did notice that we made our way down, right? Had this sell side liquidity, did that run on liquidity there, immediately pushed up, which created order block, fair value gap, and ever since then it's been displacing higher through the highs, leaving fair value gaps. So at this moment, at this point, I don't think we're going to come back down for a while. And then even here, this 1 hour, this is why I marked this one. I don't see a reason to come down, to be honest. Displaced higher here, pulled back into it, and, don't really see much reason to come down. If I go to the 15-minute chart, the only thing I have is this new week opening gap over here, so that'd be like the only reason. And I don't have anything standing out to me that's very obvious that we need to come down and get. So basically, when you have that, I'm expecting price to come back to imbalances. So fair value gaps, whether it's the 15-minute, 1 hour, come back to those and use them potentially. But I don't even see us coming down to, obviously the market could do anything. But at the moment, we have this single low. So I'll mark that as a sell side liquidity, which is right below this London low, and right below the new day opening gap. So if we do come down, that'd probably be the only area that I'm thinking. Otherwise, we have this little pullback here, all this imbalance in this run up. And see, remember, if you have expansion, distribution in London, so this was all London here. It's high probability we may get some accumulation in the New York session. Potentially. The market's open now. I have some minor sell side liquidity here. Let's jump down to the 1 minute because I really was interested in this. I have some minor sell side liquidity right here. So I thought at the open, that's why I marked these. Now, obviously, I would have lost. We left relative equal highs up here. So I think we're going to come down, take this sell side, this minor sell side, and just work our way up. And here's why I had the minor sell side, where I was getting at, is I didn't have anything obvious on the 15-minute. So it's probably going to come back to imbalances. And on the 5-minute, the only thing I dropped down on the 5-minute to look for any type of obvious, and this is the only thing I kind of really saw to the short side, was this smoothness right here. So I marked that as a minor sell side liquidity. Looking at the open to take that, maybe go into this imbalance a little bit, and then looking for something like this. So that's kind of where I'm at today. And let's check the opening range gap. We have our open up there. We closed down here. Let's see how big this one is today. We got 522, set a couple hundred points. So we may not, we're probably not going to come all the way down. So if anything, potentially the midpoint of it there. Let's mark this upper quadrant just to see where that is. Oh, wow. It's right where price is there. I'm going to label that upper 25% quadrant. Okay. Just for noting purposes, because that might be as low as we go. That might be it. We'll see. See, upper 25%, minor sell side. We'll see. Obviously, it could just like keep going down, but we'll see. Yep, there was 8:30 and there's 10 a.m. news as well, so be on the lookout for that. Morning, morning, morning. Yeah, see? And now we did leave, like I said, relative equal highs up here. A little bit of smoothness. So this is going to be my buy side liquidity now. If we make our way up. But I wanted to see. That's what I was saying. I marked this out to see how price reacts. Now, here's the thing. This is why you can't, like, this is a few 10, 15 minutes before the open. Like, it came back in here into this golden inversion, and then right here at 925, shot up. So it's almost like, you know, if you're trying to short this, whoop, stop, run. You're not going with me. And then wham, took it out, ran down to where it's just nice. Like, y'all, like, stupid YouTube. What's wrong with YouTube? Am I still live? Let's see. Yeah, it shows I'm live. Okay. I don't know what, Chris, you made me nervous there. It says my connection is excellent. Okay. You're just putting random comments. Okay. Anyways. I like seeing. Sorry, I got thrown off there. Chris's technical issues. Yeah, Chris being Chris. Anyways, I like seeing how things work, you know. And it's nice to see the market do what you think it could do. So that's, again, I was talking to somebody a little bit earlier. They're learning these concepts, and they're still, you know, relatively new. And there's so many people that have said, you know, once they start understanding these ICT concepts, that the market just changed for them. And I really, really, really believe it's because knowing the whys, why things should happen, why things are happening. Having information is crucial. That's why I believe, like, when people kind of tiptoe into ICT concepts, it's not good, because you start just seeing fair value gaps and you start thinking things, you know, start thinking things are happening and start thinking you know things, but then they stop and they're just like, you know, oh, market structure shift, fair value gap, and like a couple things. Like, look, here we go. We're running down. So, let's see what happens when we get to the midpoint of that opening range gap there. So then they feel like they know everything. And that's where it can get a little, that's where it can get dicey. Because you're almost there, but then you feel like you're doing well and you know a lot, and then you stop studying and learning. And then things will happen. You're like, wow, I always see this work, but then when I do this, it doesn't work. And I think that's where people are like, almost there. Just keep studying, keep figuring things out. And I think that's a little bit of the problem, is that it is very precise, right? So I think people start something, they study it to a certain point, but they don't go enough. Once they start feeling like they got it, they stop and then start just trying to execute, right? And then you're going to go through those ups and downs. You feel like you're being attacked with what we're talking about? Technical issues, Chris? Or are you talking about what I'm saying with ICT? What I'm saying? Hey, I don't attack anybody, but when I say stuff, if you feel like, if anybody feels like I'm talking to them, maybe I am. Midpoint of that 1 hour fair value gap. I'm not looking to short right now because I don't have, like, I always need targets. So right now, yes, you can pick things to be targets. Like, I have things, but when I say I need a target, I need something that I know price should go to. That's what I mean by when I say I need targets. So like, if I get a reason to go long, I know price is going to need to come up to these relative equal highs. It left this buy side liquidity there so it can do, so it can come back to it later. But to the short side, I don't have, other than that new day opening gap that I mentioned, I I don't have a strong reason to be like, it's got to go there. I don't. So, and now if you look at what ICT talks about where does the market, where is it smooth and where does it get jagged? So if it creates smoothness and then it starts getting jagged, where it starts working in its way, then that's something that could happen. That's you, John. Yeah, hey, it's and part of knowing, like, you have, like, there's nothing wrong. There's so many phases of everybody's trading life, right? Trading cycle. You just have to be aware of where you are and try to get to that next level, because we all got to go through the process. Will said, if you understand ICT completely, you should be institutionalized and on medication. Yeah, I agree. You have to understand it to a point to where you understand it and you're comfortable. Because as soon as you think you understand it all, there's going to be a new ICT video and it makes you question everything about life. What's up, Benton? Good morning. That's awesome, John. And what y'all see is how I understand it, right? That's my perception, and this is why I tell everybody, And when I mention this is how I trade, it's my perception of it. And that's what he encourages. He encourages you to understand a foundation of how it works and then make it your own. And that's what I love about it. There's a basic foundation that is true, that holds rules and values and everything that you should learn and be able to follow. Once you have that, you can make it your own. Just like I was talking about yesterday, where I said, oh, if we reach the point up here, and I know there's a 15-minute BISI down here that we haven't touched, I know at some point we should pull back to that, and I can take a short to it. I don't know that that's taught anywhere, but that's how I understand how the market works. And if you understand how it works, you can make it your own and develop a system within it. So yeah, and that's where I think another area that I think people, overachievers like myself, get messed up in, where you want to learn it all. And that's me. I'm like, man, I want to learn every single, he's got 1,000 videos on his channel. I want to learn every single one. I want to learn every single PD array. I want to learn everything. If I know everything, I should be able to do everything. I learned that the hard way. That's too much. Less is more. Will and I kind of talked about that privately in a conversation yesterday. We were talking about some other, things that ICT does and talks about. And I'm just like, we're like, yeah, less is more. And a lot of times. So figure out what you can see, what works for you, that foundation, and build around it. And let's see right here if the market's trying to get jagged on us. And if you know what I mean, this is what I mean. Smooth, cross, jagged. So we'll see if that happens or not. But made its way into the imbalance. Now, obviously, we've seen days where this thing could just run and run and run. So that's what you always have to, you can't get completely sold on an idea, but you can anticipate. That's actually one of the things we're talking about, APW, was SMTs. I do not look for SMTs. Nothing wrong with it. They're actually great because, yes, ES does lead NQ often, and NQ can lead ES as well. That's actually when I first got started trading, almost 6 years ago now. One of the concepts that I was taught is how to watch, ES and NQ for one to follow the other. However, for me with ICT concepts, I cannot do that because I'll come up with my analysis for NQ with what I'm in tune with, and before I tried to look at SMTs with ES, and what ended up happening is a lot of times I let it sway my bias. So I would see something, I'm like, yeah, this is happening, and then I would look at ES and be like, oh, this is a SMT. And I'd kind of shift my thinking a little bit. And then my initial analysis was correct. And the SMT threw me off. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done doing that. Nothing wrong. Like I said, it's fine. I know a lot of people have success with SMTs. But not me. All right. Let us see. Let us see. Now, what I am watching. Now, remember, we have 10 a.m. news. Here, let me put my text up because we can't forget. We can't forget. We're a team here. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Using it as confirmation or however you want to use it, SMTs or anything, really. There's no wrong. Like, that's what I hate when people are like, oh, it's wrong, with whatever you do. And I'm like, there's no wrong. If it works for you, it works. If trading, simple moving averages for you and you're great at discipline and money management and it works and you're making money, hey, it works. Who cares? It works. Like, I would never bash people for doing something that works for them. And I hate when people do that. Yeah. We have that news soon. And at what point, so we have the opening range gap down here. I mean, there's got to be a certain point where I can be like, all right, we're not going up. But I'm not there yet. And this is suspect to me, leaving those relative equal highs right there. Now, we can, so also I want to look, we're going to, maybe in 12 minutes, we'll get what's it called? A SIBI here. And what I could look at, because technically this would be, a market structure shift, fair value gap on the 15-minute here if that happens. And what we could do is look at this dealing range here. Big dealing range we created. And right here, that's how you know. Remember, I've mentioned this multiple times. That's how you know you have a good dealing range, is if the midpoint, if y'all see it right here, 382.50, if the equilibrium of that dealing range has a big, huge gap in it, then you know you have a good dealing range marked out, because this is a measuring gap right here. So there is a good probability that we could come down to 382.50. So, but with all this gap, fair value gap, and imbalance and stuff in here, I'm not sure how eager I want to be to get short in it. So I'll keep watching. More than likely, I'll wait till news, see what this news does. 382.50. I want to mark equilibrium here. Dealing range. Equilibrium. David, good to see you, David. How you doing? And I'll just kind of put that there to see what happens there. And we do, like I say, we do have here. I want to clean this up some because I hate so many marks. They have that 1 hour fair value gap, but then we also have this 15-minute BISI here. So I'm going to put that there. And just to remind myself, I mean, this is all being rebalanced right now. This could be a bullish order block here, but so we'll see. At what point do I start thinking we're just going to keep going down? Well, kind of this area. We have, like I said, the new day opening gap right here. We have this London low sell side liquidity. Still not, it's 950 now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here and as we get closer to the 10 a.m. news. But, we opened and just shot straight down. And left those relative equal highs. So that's a little suspect to me. So I'll be watching to see if we have a nice. So what I'm going to kind of do now too is I'm going to watch like every fair value gap going down, going like that, like if we keep going down like this, um, and see when we get a clean inversion. What I would prefer to happen though is to get a bullish breaker and a golden inversion to the long side. But let's see if we get an inversion here. But see, we have another fair value gap here. So basically, it'd be basically like a 2022 model today if it happens, if we go long. So you'd have an inversion happen. And then we need it to pull up, basically kind of like come back down, get a market structure shift with a fair value gap, back down and go. So basically a 2022 model if a long forms. See, now this is an inversion. We have this fair value gap right here, so keep that in mind. Yeah, exactly, Will. Like when I see higher time frame, 15-minute fair value gaps, like markets going down into 15-minute bissies that hasn't really been touched. It's just always, because I always feel like, and y'all know, I say this all the time. I ask that question. If I take this trade and it loses, how will I feel? Well, if I take a trade into 15-minute bissies and it fails, I'll be like, I took a trade right into these 15-minute higher time frame bissies to, like, what am I doing? And I just won't feel great about it. The only 15-minute fair value gap that I will potentially trade through is the opening bar, which I've talked about many times. This one right here. So 930 bar, if we get a fair value gap there, I am open to trading through that. If I have something really, really, really strong above it that I believe and a reason that we're going above it. Mentioned that a few times before. All right, so let's see if this kind of plays out. It's 954 now. We do have a fair value gap here. Obviously, this is not what I'm looking to enter on. So we have an inversion, a fair value gap. I prefer a bullish breaker, but I don't think we're going to get one. Maybe with news. Maybe news make a lower low. But, because what could happen here now is, like I said, smoothness. Ran down further. Inversion, fair value gap here. We could see it come back down here, creating a swing. Getting kind of stopped in this fair value gap. Create a swing, come back down here. Displace higher through this. With that market structure shift, fair value gap here. That would be where I look for my long. And I'm not going to target all the way up there because I don't take trades that big. So I'd probably target, and we'll see if this area holds or if we make a lower low. But I'll probably, if this scenario plays out, I'll probably target, depending on where my entry is, this fair value gap or these highs. But we'll see. I would prefer it to make a bullish breaker here, though. Or create a bullish breaker. Thursday. Remember, y'all, I will not be streaming tomorrow, unfortunately. So I'll probably pop open some charts, maybe, but I will not be streaming. We have about 3.5 minutes until news. Looks like it's trying to make a lower low, which I really do prefer that. I really do prefer that. If we can get down here, take this low, have this fair value gap in here, and then come up. Come up through this high, market structure shift, fair value gap, all that. All right. All right. We're going 1 minute. 1 minute. ES is looking good, Munch. You were short, Max. Nice. Don't fail here. Don't give me a failure swing. Let's get a little. Here. Not worried about these anymore. Let's get down here. Get potential for a bullish breaker. We have 20 seconds, though, for news. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Let's see if we make a lower low. If we can make a lower low here, then I would definitely be looking at this fair value gap for an inversion and go up if it presents itself. Although, okay, let's see. News is out. Lower low. Now let's see. Is that going to happen, or are we just going to keep going down? Come on, give me a golden inversion, baby. Right here. I mean, the low of the opening range gap is just, I mean, this area is right here, not too far away. So we may come down here, take that 483. Because typically when it gets, that far, that close, it might as well just take it out and then make its way up if that's what it's going to do. Oh, let me get rid of this up here. Because it may, like I said, that's why you can't get too, even though I think we're going to come back to this area, it might not be during this session, right? It might be this afternoon. It may be tomorrow. So back inside yesterday's range. Here's previous day high right up here. But this is a fair value gap right here that I'm not going to short, because this is the one I'd be looking for an inversion at if it comes back up to it. Otherwise, yeah, 483.75 is in play. If we can get through this area right here, this 15-minute fair value gap. The FOMO is real for you? Yeah. FOMO is a real thing for sure. Because a lot of, like, it does take time, excuse me, to be able to mentally master watching this, watching this movement go and go and go and not taking a part of it. Because, you feel like, man, this thing's just running. I want to catch some of it. And it's easy to do. I mean, it's easy to do. I don't feel that way anymore because of, I like to, have my idea. That's why I really am set on having an idea before the market opens and trying to really see if it plays out or not. And it helps me to be able to watch the market do this and not feel like, man, I got to go with it. Like, I don't need to go with it. I need the market to fit into my idea, not me try to adjust to what the market's doing. Now, there is a little caveat to that, because you do have to adjust, right? You do have to adjust, because at some point, if the market just keeps going down, 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 I got to be like, all right, well, we're not going back up today or this morning. And either don't take a trade or adjust, right? So you do have to have that fine line there. And we do have that. So we do have that 15-minute SIBI here, all right? I'm going to mark it because it is there. And I do want to see it when I go back to my 1-minute chart. Now, we have this potential one here, but that's 10 minutes away. If we make our way back up here, then obviously this will get immediately rebalanced, and I don't have to worry about it. However, if we stay around this area and we look like we're going to trade through this one and close and get this one here, that's whenever I'll be like, you know what, we're probably not going to make our way back up this morning, and we're probably going to keep going down. That's kind of what I'm looking at this morning. And that's how I kind of start, switching or adjusting, not switching, but adjusting. There you go, Max. Yeah, hey, man, that's great. Take a break, walk away. And what I always suggest on one of my videos, I mentioned that if you get that feeling and that's the best thing. Don't just try to look away or log out or whatever. You have to walk away from your PC. You have to walk away. If you shut it down, great. But if you need a mental break, walk away for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, reset. You got to walk away. So good job, Max. Anybody else have taken any trades? Anybody catch this downward move? Oh, man. My trade copier is off, and I'm still in Global Sim. There we go. We're good to go now. So, really, let's see. So, basically, okay, so here's where I'm at with this. If we continue down, the problem is by the time I switch my thinking, if we, not thinking, but kind of where I'm looking, it might be too late because by the time it gets down here and I'm like, yeah, we're not coming up. Well, we're already at probably going to be pretty close to taking all of these levels. I mean, there probably still will be room. But what I was going to say is if not, like if I'm convinced we're going to keep going down and we've already taken like say the sell side liquidity that I have marked down here in this area, the next area I'd be looking at is to come down into this big imbalance and potentially this dealing range equilibrium right in this 382.50. That's what I'd be looking for. So we do have a lot of room when you're looking at, you know, zoomed out like this. So we'll just keep monitoring this and see how this goes. Trade copier, I use affordable indicators. You can get a discount using my code BEAST. It's in the description. But yeah, affordable indicators is my choice. I love it. This is it. You can set up your dashboard. There's some discipline. I still need to make the video like going through all the features because it's amazing. It's really good. And it's super simple. Like you can adjust it all here. Like have all your adjustments, have all your counts that you want to show. And every day, literally, like, oh, so there's a couple good features too. There's a glitch with NinjaTrader. This copier is the only one that has a fix to it where it flattens, like it has this little delay and it flattens all your orders for you with this flatten all. If you use any other copier, never hit the flatten or close button or even a Ninja. It can create opposite orders, make a mess, get hit for hedging. You don't want any of that. And then literally to turn it on, that's it. On and off. Boom. It is super simple. I'm going to make that video with all the features. To be honest, it's been on the back burner a little bit, but mainly because like still kind of trying to figure out how to display all the features in a good way. That way, because there's a lot of features that I don't use. So I'm kind of like, how do I really explain it? Because there's a lot that I think could be used. And it has a lot of risk management stuff in it too. So I got to figure out how to like show all that. But man, this thing's amazing. And it's super, super fast. Super fast. And it takes care of that NinjaTrader glitch that doesn't exit you out of some trades. And yeah, this isn't the cleanest action so far. For sure. It's not looking good. Again, we still have, that news. We have tariff news yesterday. We have World Economic Forum meetings still. The next week is FOMC. So, man, just be cautious on your trading right now. And this is a time where, and see, I got to be careful saying this. But this is a time where you might want to like really exercise the patience and wait for those A+ trade setups. And I said I got to be careful saying this right now because I usually say that and I'll take something. I'm like, this is a great setup, but it's not really A+. It's not like my no-brainer. Yeah, Joel is the creator of Affordable Indicators Trade Copier. Great guy. That their support is amazing, by the way. If you ever have to deal with support, And actually, I need to get back with him because he said he would do a video with me to talk about his tools, that indicator and everything, and go over all the features. So I need to make that happen. Look how it's just accumulating inside this 15-minute Bissy here. All right. What are the odds that 1021 makes it happen? At 1021, do y'all think it's going to make it happen? Was it yesterday that 1021 was a dud? Nothing happened. Let's see if it happens today. I remember when I first started with ICT Concepts, and I was still blending my strategies a little bit with the Apex Sniper system and Simplicity. I don't know if y'all know about that, but it's kind of blending it a little bit. And I was like, man, there's always a setup at 1021. I have no idea. I don't understand why. And every one of my trades, I started in October of 2023, and almost every one of my entries came at 1021. That's why I started watching 1021. Yeah, the future winning lotto numbers. 1021. You know, at one point when I played basketball, my jersey number was 21. Just saying. Well, we have a minute and a half, and we're going to get that other 15-minute Sibby. Right here. Minute and a half. And that's where I'm going to start shifting to. Let me check something. To if we get this Sibby, that may be, because look how we rebalanced. Just about fully rebalanced this 15-minute fair value gap. And also the 1 hour one that's there as well. Haven't inverted it. There's a difference between rebalancing and inverting. Rebalance is when it trades through. Inverting is when it closes through. So if we get this Sibby here, we've already rebalanced. We may either keep pushing down or pull back up into this Sibby now and then push down. So now this is where my trade bias flips. I'm no longer really interested in a long. Unless if it is extremely obvious. Meaning we displace up with full conviction. Like you can see clear displacement up. Like that's what I really need to go long now. And it has to displace through this 15-minute fair value gap, this Bissy or Sibby here. Sorry. So it'd have to kind of like do this and displace through. I don't need an inversion. I just need a full rebalance through it and show me that, hey, all right, we're going up now. Otherwise, I want to see we have all these areas down here that we could go to. So otherwise, if we don't get that displacement up, then I'll need that displacement down. Basically, I'm looking for displacement now. So now we're touching the 15-minute Sibby. That doesn't mean anything yet because you do expect it to go pull back to it. So like I've said before, when we have that fresh Sibby on the 15-minute or any fair value gap, I'm looking for a pullback to it and reaction out of it. So now I want to see a pullback in it. We do have an inversion here, but I want to see reaction out of it. And we still have this fair value gap right here that it could be looking to reach back into as well. So now we'll see what happens there. This is not one that I'm looking to short, though. I'd be looking for it to pull back into it and then come down and leave me a fresh new SIBI on the 1 minute, and that's the one I'd short. So, and that's kind of how I adjust, frame out and adjust within how the market's working in that framework. Join the 369 crowd. All right, so let's see if we get, and I'm not as concerned about this 15-minute one there now since we rebalanced. So here we go. Pulled back up into here. Let's see if we get a fair value gap, and that's my short. And then I can look at any of these targets below to target. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. That's all we can do, right? You're crazy, Max. Kidding. Well, I don't right now either because we had what looked like was going to be displacement lower and it immediately rebalanced. So, still waiting. Yep. What Will said, I need looking for some displacement. And remember, time is important. Time is important. So we have 1 minute until 10:21. Now, I don't like the relative equal lows here if it goes long, but this candle, if we displace up out of it, this very well could be a bullish order block right here. And it could be engineering this for later. But this very well could be a bullish order block if we displace up. We got 10:21 approaching in 10 seconds. 10:21, come on, displace. 10:21. Well, I didn't get my 1021 move. We still have 30 seconds, though. Come on, 1021. Back in this 15-minute fair value gap. Like I said, I wanted to see it trade all the way through. Get through this area before I'm considering it. Might get this fair value gap here. Let's see if we do. This, the reason why, like, I would feel more comfortable if this candle, down candle, took these lows, then I would feel better about this being a nice bullish order block, but it didn't take these lows. Instead, it left relative equal lows, and that's what I don't like. Now we're back up in here. Let's see if we can still make our way. I can't long this. I'm definitely not going long here, even though we technically have a little bit of a market structure shift. Oh, we had some relative equal highs right there. Okay, so that might be all that's happening right here. You see these relative equal highs right here? This high is 591.25. This high is 591. So this was relative equal highs by one tick. Before continuing down, we may, and see how we left these relative equal lows here? We may be doing a little bit of a stop run above these relative equal highs here, right back up into here, and then we'll see if we displace lower and keep going down or not. But if it could prove me wrong. Or not prove me wrong. It could just not do that and continue up. If it shows the willingness to keep going through this and comes back into here, that might be, that might have some potential, maybe. But right now, it's a no. But you see, when you see areas, like I didn't spot this until we did this run up here. So let's zoom out a little bit. Because see, the long-term, intermediate-term swing is not, like you still have this. So this is exactly what it looks like, creating, engineering a little bit of minor buy-side liquidity, getting the energy to keep running down, run out those stops, create this intermediate term swing, and wham, let's keep going. That's why I would not long that. And the sign of that happening is it leaving these relative equal lows down here. Like if this would have been lower and it would have had that same move, then I'd feel like, okay, that's a bullish order block. We're going to go up. But this was too suspect for me. Way too suspect. Now, this is displacement, and this would be the fair value gap I'd be looking to short if it happens. Because now it's telling, it's showing us its hand. Maybe. If it immediately rebalances this, then forget about it. And we have an inversion, that inversion here, and we're going to have this fair value gap as long as this does not get immediately rebalanced. So it doesn't look like it because we have less than 10 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. And now we're in it. So now I'm going to go to the 15-second here, see if I get a confirmation. hitting the midpoint. It didn't displace through the lows, though, before coming back up. So that's one thing that you'll notice. Like, the displacement, leaving that fair value gap, stopped short of taking out those lows. What would have been nicer is if it would have displaced through the lows, leaving that fair value gap, and then pull back and then go. So, and then now you got to be careful in case if it creates a BISI right inside here. And if that happens, it's one of them days. Yeah. Weekend drinking happened early for NQ. Yeah, and at this point, it's in a zone that I just don't love right now. I really don't like this area. There's too much that it can like keep bouncing, ping-ponging back and forth. Probably not going to get anything today. We'll see. If it does continue up, though, what I see possibly could be happening, because see, this is smoothness it's leaving down here. So if it does keep working its way up, then maybe it returns up into this higher 15-minute SIBI and then come back for that. But that's only if it just keeps making its way up. If it doesn't, then I just don't like this right now. So I'd be watching this swing right here. It's intermediate term swing. If it takes that swing out, then high probability that it makes its way up here. So that's the swing, what I'd be watching right now. See, this is now an inversion. We have this fair value gap back down here, this BISI formed. But down here, like I said, this is very suspect still. And it's 10:30, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes here to see if something happens. If not, then I'm going to wrap it up, call it a day, and be back Monday. Let's take this dealing range here, see what it looks like. From this high where it created the move down all the way to this low. 637.75 is equilibrium of this dealing range here. So, and what do we have? Fair value gap. Remember I said if you have a fair value gap around the midpoint, a decent sized fair value gap around the midpoint, you know you got a good dealing range. So we may see it return up to this area before continuing. And the reason why I'm looking at this dealing range is because we have literally creating smoothness on the bottom, creating smoothness on the top. So it's got to be, one of them's got to be taken out. And if we're going to be bearish, then what might happen is a return to equilibrium up in here into this fair value gap and then take out that smoothness. Or if we're going to be bullish, then we'll see it trade above this area and continue its way up to that buy side liquidity. Yeah. Recipes. Weekend cooking there. But I don't trust anything at the moment to take, so yeah, I think I'm gonna call it, y'all. I don't. It's 10:33. Might not get anything until 10:50, but then we're knocking on that 11 a.m. door, and I really gotta just make sure I don't take anything after that. So, yeah. There we go. It might be working its way up there. Excuse me. Might be a little order block, but again, it's hard for me to take a long now too, because I mean we just have these areas that I could see it stopping at, and it's just I don't like any of this, to be honest. I just really don't. All right, let me remove this one because we have rebalanced it. Right? I agree. Even though it's like trying to move up here. Now we are taking these intermediate term swings here and here. And as returned to this area, this is going to be a crucial area for me. Right in here between this 622, 640, almost 639. I have this inversion right here now. Yeah. It's more of a, it's not going to be a no-brainer or anything like that. I don't think if a trade happens. It's not something that I'm like extremely sure about. Like you would just be trading a setup and managing your risk. Let's just see what happens inside this one here. I don't like taking a trade though through this. It'll probably go though. But see, that's the thing. It's going to be a probably thing. Maybe thing. Just like Will said there, maybe. 630, and there's not a ton of room. And we could reach down to that order block as well first. Back at the opening range gap, the midpoint of it. And we never took out the low. So I'm not taking this, y'all. I'm just, this down here, not reaching that opening range gap and getting so close. This feels like a setup. Like, as in it's setting me up for failure. So I'm staying out. It's 1040. It might go up. I don't care at this point. I'm feeling in my gut that this is a setup to trap me and make me lose. And if I take a trade and it loses, and I took a trade with that feeling in my gut, I won't be very happy. So I'm not going to do it. If you're in this long, if it went long, good luck. I hope it goes up. So I'm going to hop off here, guys, because I don't like it. And I'm going to just hop off. I'm going to call it a day. So watch that 1050 macro. Be careful. And again, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So I'll be back Monday. Monday, I'll be back. I hope you guys have a great day. All right. So I'll see y'all Monday. Trade well, everybody. Take care.